Check, 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 check. One sec. Alrighty, guys. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I gotta mark up my charts here. Try and get this done quickly before the open. Looks like it could be a little wild. Weekend US Tech has us gapping up about 250 points. That was as high as, let's go to like a 4 hour. I think it was about 700 and change at some point. And then there was some news about uh Trump tariff stuff. What else is new, right? And the market sold off pretty hard. It was down to like 130 points, and now we are back up to 250. So there should be some volatility, which is always good. But I'm gonna do the way I always start my week is to go to the weekly chart, get rid of. We're gonna move these down here for now. Get rid of these. This is gonna become the daily weekly open, which I'll mark after the open. Uh, get rid of this. Get rid of the 60. Get rid of this. Get rid of this. It's kind of hard to see what's going on here. Daily opens. Basically, I'm marking the highs and lows of all time frames from the week down that I care about. Usually to about the. God damn it. To about the 4 hours, sometimes the 60. And that just lets me know where we are bigger picture right into the weekly high and low. We're going to zoom into the daily. I'm gonna mark the daily, which was an inside hammer. I was super excited about trading the open, hoping that inside hour, inside day, sorry, the inside day broke bullish. We have 2x inside day, double inside day, and I was looking for this to break bull, but we're probably gonna gap up, so it's gonna ruin that setup a little bit. Shit, I moved the weekly. That's the week. What happened to my daily lines? There they are. So marking the daily high and low. And then let's take a peek on my other screen here. Get back to NQ. Was watching crypto reaction to tariff news. Was not ideal. 12-hour. This here. We got a 4 hour inside bar, so we're gonna go on the 4 hour. We are gonna mark the 4 hour high and low. We've got an inside hour. I'm gonna zoom into the hourly. We are gonna mark 60, 60. Let's see what we got. If we keep zooming in, for the strat, we do multiple time frame analysis. So we are looking at every time frame and looking for the best entry that we can find to get in early. So we do have a potential rev strat down on NQ30, but again, most of this is just we're going to get a huge gap up, and then we've got to see if it's gap and go or gap and sell. But I'm not going to break from my process. This is what I do every week, every day when the market before the market opens. So I know what the hell is going on. So this is the 30-minute low. We'll mark that. That's good enough. Not going to get crazy with this. Let's reset some charts. This is going to be wild when it opens. So let's do this. Make sure I've got my account set up the way I want. I hate having to do this on. I'm not gonna mess with this right now. This is I'm gonna delete this. This is my a Blue Sky account that I'm trading. I think what I'm gonna do here is just mark. Oops, let's mark the day. I don't know what this is. Monthly, quarterly open, daily open. Fix that later. This is the daily low. Get rid of this 60. This is the weekly open. We're going to get rid of this. We'll use the daily. I'm going to get rid of that. Get rid of that. So I got the day. Mark the week. I'm not really going to bother getting to. Oh, I already have the weekly drawn out here. So we'll do that. Week. Don't need this. All right. I think that's good enough for now. I hate having to mark up a bunch of different charts, but it is what it is for now. It's because I'm exploring this other prop. But my go-to are these top step accounts. They're, you know, I got some money in them. They've got eligible days over 200 plus. So, all right, now that we got that done, I've got a few minutes here to check chat, see what's going on. What's up, 8 Ball? French Fish, my new campaign manager and chief of staff. Who I think we're gonna get a treat. He's claims he's going to full port the open, so we'll see what happens with that. I told him he's welcome to join in, share a screen. I will share that with you guys. I don't know how that came about, but yeah, he's quite a character. We hang out in the Top Step Discord and DM back and forth. So you guys ever want to talk trading? You're bored on the weekend? Shoot me a message. I'm pretty much usually around. If I'm not sleeping, I'm probably looking at charts or maybe playing with the dog, but always love talking trading, psychology, prop firms, what's going on in the whole space. Sometimes just complete nonsense. So yeah. Uh Vote T3, there you go. What's up, Solanke? Solanke, I think, is going to come to the dark side and join us in futures, perhaps. Maybe do a prop thing. I don't know. We'll see. No pressure. Just we're here. We trade, and we trade all hours usually. Don't be shy. Jump in that funded chat channel. It's where the good times roll. Oh, Enoch, sorry, can't see screen on YouTube. Sorry, bud. Hold up. Let me switch that up. I don't. That's OBS does that. I don't know why I have to always change my screen. Usually I remember to do that, but I didn't this time. Thanks. Appreciate that. I don't want to deprive you guys of this valuable screen sharing session. And like I've said before, I'm not. I don't claim to be the best trader. I'm just out here doing my thing. I enjoy live streaming. It keeps me distracted sometimes. I enjoy talking trading psychology. Um, yeah. So that's it. I mean, if you're here looking for me to sling like 15 lot minis, it's not gonna happen. I'll probably start by scaling into a micro. So if you're like, oh, you're scaling into one micro, I mean, these are my stats for my primary Globex account with one micro: 1750, 700, 700, 321, one red day, $3,000 week, and a $3,700 week roughly. So yeah, micros. You can make money with them. I am not going to be a dope. I will eventually scale up, and I will size. I'll scale into 12, 15, 18, 20 micros. Two minis. But if it's a winning position, and that's what works for me. So yeah, that's kind of how I do it. That's how I've gotten paid lately. I'm up. I've gotten $6,100 in payouts in April. January I did 5,500. I got zero pay in February and March. Had really, really difficult months, but I'm on the path. I sized down, I slowed down a little bit, and I've gotten three payouts this month. So I'm gonna keep doing what works. I suggest you figure out what works for you. Don't compare yourself to anyone else. You have no idea how long somebody else has been trading for. I watched a great YouTube video from a guy Jade Cap, Jadecap, on YouTube. He's got a Twitter account too. He's been trading 14 years and just had some really great stuff to say about his experience as a trader. That I could give you, I could tell you exactly what I'm taking and why and all that, and you could still lose money. Nothing beats experience or the time that we've spent staring at charts. Like I've spent 5 years almost exclusively staring at charts for the majority of it. So I've built up some, a little bit of experience. I have some intuition about what I'm looking for. Am I always right? No, but I got a good feel for what I'm looking for and what works for me, and I'm just trying to improve a little bit more every single day, and that's it, right? Stack base hits, catch the occasional grand slam or a home run, but in general, make a couple $100 between copy trading two XFAs and then just be done. French Fish wants to speak. What's up, buddy? Let's hold on one sec. Let me French Fish my alter. No, he's I would say I'm a bit of I might be his idol or mentor. You could ask him. He'll comment on that. But no, he's just being a character. He's trolling me basically. I can hear you. What up? What? Server mute, def and kick ban. No. User volume. Let me turn you up a bit. Say something. Can you guys hear him? Oh, screen share, screen share. Let's see. Or maybe because I'm sharing. I don't know how we'll make that work. Let me see if I can figure that out real quick. You know me, I love to see some degenerate shit. So if you're just gonna full port, we all want to see it. How do I do that? Disable video, apps, invite to server, remove friend, ignore. To audience. I don't know, bro. I've never had somebody on live stream to share a screen. Maybe we should have done a demo run of this earlier. Yeah. Yeah, post screenshots, man. Show us the once you jump in, share that blast that screenshot. Let's see what's doing, and then we'll be. I'll just mark the levels on my chart, and we'll root for you, or maybe some will root against you. But all right, I wouldn't do funded either. I think you're insane for doing combine, but like you said you were gonna do it, so I mean, again, no pressure. What's that? Yeah, unless you got something you wanna, I mean, I don't really care, but yeah, don't listen to this guy. Yeah, don't use his stop loss. Um, Let me catch up on chat real quick here. OT3, yeah, future's not sure if I'll self fund or do a top step thing. Top step's awesome, $50, man. You can extract some money. Just don't be a gambler. And um, French says no, I'm the main character. Uh, shit, market open. Look at that. All right, I'll get back to chat in a sec. We frozen? Volatility halts. So do not trade right this second. Why am I not getting a 1 minute candle update here. Oh, it's probably off the screen. Yeah, I just discovered there's a thing that CME enforces. If there's X number of amount of volatility within a certain period of time, they will temporarily pause trading. I don't know exactly how it works, but it's been happening quite a bit the last week or two. I've never experienced it before that. It's all the the Trump tariff and volatility that we've been experiencing. So just be careful. You don't want to get stuck in a position and then the next time it trades, it's down 100 points. So I want to go back to my main account. I want to make sure we are on the 1 minute chart to start. I want to short this for the gap fill, but I'm not going to be a crazy person. It's like 250 points if it closes the gap. Be a responsible risk manager right now. Not going to miss anything. The market's not going anywhere. There'll be plenty of opportunities. Do not want to get trapped in a shitty position and then start the week off red. I need this week to be another solid week, take another payout, avoid stupid mistakes. Options DGen knows who I'm talking about. Jade Cap. Yep. Gonna break the Apex record for payout. I think he's up I wanna say he's either up a mil in the last few weeks or 3 million. Maybe 3 million is his total haul. I don't know. Go you can check him out. Jade Cap. Guy's crushing it. But he's been trading for, forever. So 8 ball, what's up? Newbie, how are you? French fish, just some rando guy who I'm kind of buddies with from Top Step Discord. New T3, no. I told him kids want to be me, traders, traders and kids trying to be like me. I have my own little fan club. Combine, no big deal, yeah. I mean, it's $50, so I get it. Listen, I've full ported combines many times. I have done it. XFA is a different story. I mean, you might be in for $200 if if you pass the first time, and then you're just gonna like completely gamble it. But to each their own. Oh, he's liquidated already. Well, that didn't last long. I'm a follower. You're on follower, not leader. I don't know what that means. Stay in school, kids. What'd you do, long or short? I wanted to see your position, but you got insta liquidated, so you probably didn't even have time to take a screenshot, right? There is no rush, guys. We got a long week ahead. Probably going to be a ton of volatility. China just restricted exports of rare earth metals and magnets to the U.S. as of like 2 or 3 hours ago. So that's why the weekend tech was up 600, 700 points, gapping up and then pulled back significantly. Still gapped up, a good bit here. But you don't want to get caught on the wrong side of one of these headlines. And the opening 1 minute candle is 191 points. That's after a gap up of, and we're talking about from the close, like 400 points. Gotta wait for the market to show us where it wants to go, and then I will jump into something. This needs to be 100 tick. A little more clarity on this. Oh, you're talking about. I see what you're saying. Thanks for the heads up. Unsung. Yeah, the trading the follower account instead of being on leader. Yeah. Yeah, that the other day I thought I was copy trading two accounts and I had unlinked them so that I could switch, one to the leader instead of the other one, and I never linked them back, and I was in a really great trade, and then I found out that they weren't being copy traded, and I was super sad about it. But I think I ended that day. I did really well on that day, whatever it was. I think that was one of my $1,700 days in 2XFAs, so like $3,600 I walked away with. So everything worked out. There's slippage on stops with these platforms. There's a tiny bit. I mean, we're in simulated environment, so it's less than it would be in live accounts, but there's still a bit of slippage. Depends on your position sizing and all that. Basically, I rarely pay attention to the spreads. I mean, when we open, the spreads were probably massive, but now we're down to like a point, 2 point spread, which isn't bad for this volatility. I you know, I pay attention to the spread when we first open if things are a bit crazy. Other than that, it kind of settles down. Slippage is minimal. It's never even on my radar. If there's a half a point or a point of slippage, I mean, I'm trying for 40 to 100 points out of my trade, so it's such an insignificant amount that I don't even care. But yeah, in sim, you're gonna get much better fills. Less slippage. Like if I click market, sell, or buy, 15 contracts in sim, it's gonna fill. In live markets, you're gonna end up with some slippage because you need actual sellers or buyers to fill those orders. Inside five are currently. Oops, wrong screen. Look at the 5 minute for now. Inside five. No decoupling yet. So we got the 30 minute, the 15, the 30, the 60, the 4 hour, all the same candle at this point. Until we get some flips flipping. Oh, for real. Options DJ said he copy traded three blue skies and later got filled 30 points before the two followers did. So yeah, I mean, they like when anytime I copy trade, they almost always get filled roughly the same time. But with this type of volatility, you got to be careful. Just should go without saying. This was the setup that I was looking forward to, right? On the daily here. Inside bar, inside hammer, break this high. Let me get rid of these lines here. So this is what I was looking for or hoping for. We open somewhere near this high, we break the high, and we target up here. Basically, this red line, if you can see this red line right here, monthly, quarterly open is up at this high. So I was looking to break this candle and then end up, by the maybe New York or end of New York, kind of up in this range. But with this gap up, we're going to have to wait and see. But I thought we were going to have a really good, trade off the open here. And sometimes the market just does market things. Try and get some perspective on these ranges. So 5 minute flip. We got an inside bar I'm keeping an eye on my other screen. Breaking bull. Debated just taking a small little position there, but just gonna try and calm myself. Nice little 23-point push up so far. French fish may or may not have the record for the quickest blown account. Trying to think what the fastest I've blown an account was. I'm sure I was tilted and revenge trading and just smashed 5 minis, but I was probably in the trade for at least a few minutes, maybe. Actually, I did. Yeah, I did blow a 150K account in like 5 minutes, trading excessive leverage, and then I was like, all right, I need to not do that. That's stupid. Well, the truth is, I blew the account. I reset it. I tried again and basically did the same thing, and then I cut myself off. I said, all right, that was $300. I just blew in like 15 minutes, but I was definitely angry trading. I was pissed off, and not a good time to be sitting here clicking buttons. Oh, less than a second. That's probably a record. Sounds like it. Less than a second after market open. Delanky, I gotta get up to speed reading all the pin post and funded chat. How long to get an account set up? I mean, you can click, you fill out the form, and you can be trading futures in like 3 minutes, 5 minutes. I'm more. I have a. Why is this tick chart not updating? Oh, is it? Let's refresh. Something wrong. There we go. More likely to trade this blue sky account a little more aggressively because I just got a $3,000 profit goal um, before it gets moved to live, so I can't actually take any money out of this yet. My top step accounts I value a little more. This I value too. I did pass this evaluation in 4 days, which is I think about the fastest I could pass. I think I could pass any quicker than that. There's a 30% consistency rule, so I couldn't make more than 1,800 a day, and I did like maybe 1,600 and 900 and 17 and 18, whatever it was. It added up to 6,000 in 4 days. So now on this account, I need to make 3 grand, and then they'll move it to a live brokerage account, allegedly. And I think I can immediately take out 600 and then trade with the rest. But just because I can doesn't mean I'm going to. 5 minute inside bar up went nowhere. Potential rev strat down in force. So inside bar, 2 up shooter, trying to break down. A new 15-minute flip about 40 seconds ago. So currently inside on the 15er. Let's switch over to the 15-minute chart here. But really nothing for me to do at this point. Was thinking maybe take the 5 minute inside down, see if we head towards closing that gap, but yeah. Swearing is allowed here. Yeah, I mean, I don't, I'm not just cursing unnecessarily, but I don't, but we're adults. Yeah, French 100 tick, man. It's kind of my new thing. 1,000 tick during New York, but this gives me a nice little, good spot to view kind of the market structure on these smaller time frames. So where I may want to put my stops is mostly what I'm using it for. Or if a setup triggers, I'd like the zoomed in view, but I'm not taking trades just off the tick charts. My trades are almost always off of a 60-minute, a 4 hour, a 12-hour setup, sometimes a daily setup, but those don't occur as often. The short working. See if we can take out the low 19,000. What's up, buddy? What's that? You got the gap up sell? Nice. I wasn't brave enough to just smash any buy or sell buttons. I like this 5 minute rev strat that's triggering to the downside. I was very close to hitting sell on that, but I'm just trying to be patient. I don't want to, get too trigger happy here. But yeah, that's why I was curious if they were going to run it up and then basically once it opens and starts selling, it's like, okay, they're going to close this little gappy gap. Nice. How are you doing in your account? I know you had a good week last week, right? Still hanging in there? Oh, nice. Nice. Yeah, that's what I do. I usually try and shoot for like 3 grand, and then I'll take 1,000 out, and keep my $2,000 buffer. But it really depends on what's going on. I've been trading well in these accounts, so I was able to pull out 1,900, then 1,800, then 2,400 in April so far. So I'm just trying to stack gains, take base hits occasionally. Get a nice. I think I've caught a couple. Like one trade was like 1,700, maybe one was 1,500. But if I'm up 500 or 700, I'm like, okay, that's fine because I'm copy trading two accounts, and so it adds up. And you know, as soon as I started slowing down and just scale down a little bit and not trade for money and just take the best possible setups that showed up, like that's when things started kind of rocking and rolling. And it's crazy because, like we know that that's how it's supposed to be, but my brain is like, thinking dollar bills, y'all. Yeah. 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 I'm mostly, I mean, most of my trades, like, if there's not a 60-minute or a 4 hour setup, I usually won't take it. Like, it's kind of why I didn't just jump into the 5 minute setup because I'm not really, I don't usually scalp. I'm looking for like overnight 40 points minimum during New York, like 80 to 100. So I'm okay holding a position. Like overnight, things are slower. So I'm fine camping out for an hour or so. But with this volatility, sometimes I get to 100 points in 10 minutes and I'm just like, all right, I'm going to take the money here. It's, it's hard to just want to sit and wait and see what happens when I could be done and like go about my day. So it's a balance. It's tricky to figure out, and I think anybody that's new is just wants like I always wanted to know like, hey, what am I supposed to do here? And it's kind of different for everyone, right? Like Elaine scalps, Austin scalps. I don't really trade that way. Um, like wait, there's so many ways to do it. That's also the great thing about it. You to find like what works. Yeah, I see that. Nice. 5 minute hammer up. So this is what Alex is talking about, reclaiming this outside bar here. I got to keep an eye on the metals too. Oh, French done. What's that? 4 - 4 plus 918. Got in a position on on accident. Would you start another combine? Got a 30-minute flip in 6.5 minutes. Just chilling here, not in a hurry at all. And I usually can't wait for the open on Sunday, and I usually want to trade, but I've gotten much better at just waiting for what I know works for me and not having that irresistible urge just to like click, click, click and try and make a few bucks real fast. Yeah, 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 exactly. I mean, adding to winners for me has been a game changer because usually my stop is like once I let's say I start with like I don't know 3 micros, right, and then I add again. Now I'm up to 6. As price continues to move in my favor, each additional add doesn't affect my average price as much, right? So like as you start to size up, when you're right, you like crush it. You end up with like for me it'd be like 12, 15. I just add in groups of 3 usually. Um, and scale in and then, will I stop out often or whatever? Sometimes yeah, it's I trail my stop kind of tight. But when I'm right and things just go, it makes up for any stop out or, any kind of losers by far. And so, I'm not comfortable. I used to, trade like a mini, but with the way volatility is, I'm not willing to risk $200 every 10 points on a starter position. If you're wrong by 20 points, that's $400. It's kind of killer, you know? Like maybe you can make that work. I don't know. I don't know how you feel about that, but for me, it's just I'd rather slowly add into a winner, or sometimes aggressively, but feel much more comfortable if I'm wrong and stop out and I'm down $50 versus 200 or $400. You know what I mean? Yeah. 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 I get that. Right. Yeah, and then like for me, yeah, I start to get like my patience starts to wear thin. I've gotten better at just being okay with it for a period of time, but if things, the best setups usually, like you said, just go right away, right? When they trigger, they just go. You're quickly able to set a break even stop, and then that's it. There's like no stress. Once you get to that position, it's like the best place you can be, at least for me as a trader, is in a risk free position that's working. Like yeah. 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 Yep. Here's a flip. Two down on the 1530s. Options DJN, you still trading or are you done? Survive and max profit of my three blue sky accounts. Didn't see it. Nice. Failed two down on the 15 and 30, so two down but green currently. About 64 hour, 12-hour day. Big red candles. Let's take a look at like ES. ES probably looks the same as NQ ish. Yeah. It's oil up to oil big outside bar to start on the 15:30 64 hour. Failed two up on the day. Here's CL. Where's whoops? We need to look on the daily chart. CL. So I keep an eye on this to see if this keeps selling. Probably won't. Probably won't mess with it. I haven't traded oil in a bit. I gotta switch my charts to use dollars instead of points. Keep an eye on NQ. NQ is where my attention is usually focused. I have considered switching to ES though with the volatility in NQ is ES doesn't move quite as erratically, but I haven't made that leap yet. I've literally spent what is silver? Yeah, 15 just broke to the upside. 322 hammerish candle. Shit, I got chat. I gotta scroll down here. Do. Nice job, French. 3-2, and then you wait for the other two to enter for continuation. Uh, technically, is that technically a reversal though, right, Alex? Like the 3-2-2, 3-2 down, two up, reversal. Okay. Options DJ needs a little more. You got those Gex levels up? I haven't messed with that yet, but it's on my radar for this week. We were looking at a chart last week. He took a short, and I was talking about potentially shorting a failed two up on the 15, and it happened to be right against his Gex level, and then it just completely tanked after that. And I was like, huh, like I'm not used like my go-to is strat stuff, right? But if let's say there are some gamma exposure levels that may be of interest where I'm seeing strat reversals, then it's just an extra little tool that might give me some clues. Yeah. Yeah, I haven't spent enough time with it to it's easy to kind of cherry pick. Oh, this time it worked, this time it didn't, or whatever. But just something I'm curious about. I'm always trying to, anything I can do to improve my game a bit. I'm like, all right, let me see how that works. There are plenty of people who trade just their whatever their strategy is and use gamma exposure and seem to make it work. I mean, there's so many ways to trade and be successful. It's for me, it's all of my issues have been psychology related and emotional and discipline and self control. And I mean, at first, when you're new, I think you need to find a strategy that you like, that works, that makes sense, that's something you can repeat. For me, that was the strat. And then, I was like, oh, once I learn the strat, I'm going to just start printing money. And then I learned the strat, and it's like, oh, the strategy is really like, for me, only 20% of trading. The other 80% is execution and managing positions and like not being greedy and not being scared and, just kind of trying to trade like a robot. Yeah.
based on your analysis. What does something that's actually good look like? And then from there, as far as psychology, entries, exits, execution, you you have to have a way in the chart to know what to do, right? It's like for strats, like exhaustion risk, that's when you defend. Reversal against is when you should be out, right? For other strategies, I'm not sure. It may be or may not be, but you have places to invalidate.
Right.
So really look at the chart, know what you're supposed to do. Then can you also know when your analysis is wrong and you should be out, and when your analysis is still good, which means you shouldn't get out. And then those are like the main building blocks.
Yeah.
So like if you have one, like if you have the strat, but you also don't know what you're looking to trade, you'll trade every scenario, which isn't what we're supposed to do.
Yeah, you get people who just trade the combo sheet and they're like, it's not working. It's like, well, we wouldn't expect it to. Right, right, right.
But you also don't know what you're looking at on charts, then you might lose money and not be sad about it, and it might not wreck you completely, but you don't know what you're looking at. So some days you're gonna make money, some you'll lose money, and you'll feel good about it, but you don't know what you're doing. And
Yeah,
you have to work together.
yeah, 100%. And you can even know what you're looking for, and then if you're not confident enough, like I know, there's some traders that I've been talking to who they have a they can find a decent setup, but then they hesitate. There's, whatever. They have like this mental block that stops them from being able to execute. You really do need the whole package. And I think it's just something that over a period of time, it's a skill that you develop just like playing an instrument or guitar. You don't pick the guitar up and start rocking out like, in the first week or two or even the first year. It's something you have to practice over and over and over. You have to see the same setups play out over and over and over in the market under different conditions, and then you start to get a feel for like what you like. Like I know what I like to look for now, and like you said, what a good setup is. And I think initially a lot of people just look at the combo sheet and they're like, oh, this is doing X Y Z. I'm gonna jump in, and they yeah, right. You can't jump in like it triggers with 5 minutes left before the hourly flip. It's like, are you slow down, chief. No.
Like you can look at one minute this big broad information. That's a good setup. That's what it looks like every single time. But what does the week and day and 60-minute trip look like when that setup breaks? Like if they're all blood red, or you're completely stuck inside all those time frames, it might be a good 1 minute setup every time. We're gonna say that looks good for long, but every other condition is not screaming longs. It's screaming like do nothing or like they're selling, so it's less likely to work.
Yeah.
So it's like we know what a good setup looks like. Like don't get that wrong. Strat knows what a good setup looks like, but you have to line that up not on just one time frame. It has to be across 4 point, or else you're trading blind.
Yeah. I was talking to some people today who were trading from their phone, and I'm like, man, I've done it. I've managed positions from my phone. I've traded evaluation accounts. Usually, I've rarely traded an XFA from my phone. If I'm in a position and I need to like walk my dog, I'll grab my phone and whatever. I'll keep an eye on the charts. But I'm like, without being able to look at all of the time frames at the same time, for me, it's like flying blind. Like I need to know where are we at on the 5, the 15, the 30, the 6. Most importantly, the 60. For me, I like the 4 hour, the 12 hour, but without knowing like you said where we're at bigger picture, it's I just it doesn't work well
So
for me.
take this bottom of broad information, 60-minute signal, and it's at the top of the monthly broad information. Like that changes how you're going to do that. Unless like what if it's at the bottom of a quarterly broad information and it's Tesla and it's still a company and it's still probably not going out of business. People are still buying Teslas. It's like well that position over the next couple of years might go all the way back through the triangle. Like you're going to manage it so different, but you can't do that unless you look at all the time
Yeah,
frames.
exactly.
So it's like it's just so important.
Yeah, it's funny when people always ask like what time frame do you use, and I'm like, and I heard Sarah say it a million times. I've heard you say it a million times. You're like all of them. Like we use all of them. Like every time frame matters, context matters.
question. Struggle with mental struggles in trading recently. What was the struggle? I think with futures, just because first of all, I don't trade them often, if at all, really. Like we're mostly just trading the indexes. I'm trading options. For me, with options, I'm not tempted to be an over trader and like managing things too much because on cash accounts and stuff, like it can limit you. Uh, that's like trading for many years. Just trading on a cash account, I didn't start with $1 million. Right? It's like um, you're limited by it. So like just trading options, I'm willing to just like buy it. If I'm wrong, I'll get it out. If I'm right, I'll hold it, and maybe I'll enter once or twice on the same setup over the course of let's say Monday and Tuesday. If it's a weekly break and it's a simultaneous break. Um, but on futures, especially if you're trading intraday, you don't have that limitation at all, and I don't. You don't have that mental limitation if you're coming from trading options or trading a cash account where I have kind of built up. I don't want to say built up a limitation, but built up like the discipline to be like, okay, this is what I'm going to get in, even if it goes without me. Like that's okay. And if I get in and it stops me out, that's okay. I'm not going to try and overtrade it. So on futures, I'm more tempted to overtrade. And I guess the way around it or the way to fix it for me is like, do I actually have something that's like setting up? Because it's really easy to go on a 1 minute chart and find a signal and want to play it, right? But if you go to a 30, 15, 60, a 4 hour, and you're looking at all of them, if the 4 hour is an inside bar, the 60 is two up but red, and the 15 is an inside bar, and then the 1 minute signal sets up, it's like, well, we have a lot of inside stuff. Bigger time frames aren't going anywhere, so it's just not really worth it. Versus if you sit on the 1 minute, you let the intraday vortex kind of take you for a whirl, then you deal with the problems that I deal with sometimes. So it's really like zooming out so you don't just kind of chop yourself up. That's like number one thing. And the other thing I want to get better at, which I'm not bad at, it's just on futures I'm not as inclined to do it versus options or where we're trading slightly different conditions. Like on futures, like for example, like the SPY slash yes on Wednesday. Pre-market trading, there's some pretty good signals. And then later in the day, you get the rally with the news. There's a big 4 hour ground information that we were tracking even just on my Twitter. We're tracking the big levels of reclaim that caused the initial puke on Tuesday. And then when it starts coming back through on Wednesday, there just wasn't really many good signals in the morning. Now, despite that, what I want to get, I guess, improve towards is being able to go in, create a winning position, say the ground information is trying to go to the other side. So as long as I have a winning trade, I don't have to worry about like stopping out, taking profit, nothing. It's like we're not at the other side yet. I'm just gonna leave it. That's where I like to be. And with options, I feel like I just do that more. I do that better just because of what we're trading with options and the simultaneous breaks sector wide. And normally you have more evidence for your trades. You also have more time, I guess, that you're waiting for. Versus on futures, it's like maybe you have all day, but you have the rest of the week. Versus on options, trading weeklies and like swinging for multiple weeks, you have all week. You have the rest of the month. And then you can just kind of hold it and let it meander a little bit. Versus on futures, I feel like I don't I don't feel like I have the luxury to just kind of let it sit and wait for it to go to the other side. Just because you're limited to like during the day. So I'm less inclined to do it versus options, where I'm willing to hold an option like multiple days to try and catch a bigger move.
Yeah, it makes sense. Options DGen putting up, what do you do here? $10,400 in a number of accounts. Absolutely crushed it.
Are those all funded accounts?
Um, looks like she's got some evals. I think some of them are funded. So my funded futures, mostly evals. Want to save the PAs for tomorrow? Oh, French fish. Do I dare ask what your idea is? You think it might be all right? Go ahead. Fire away. It's not my strat either. It's Rob Smith's creation, but I just I'm along for the ride. Inside 15 after the flip. New hourly flip in 12 and a half minutes, and we'll see what they do. Definitely enough volatility to make money. There's not like a really great setup that I'm super excited about. And I always say that the best trades for me are when I look at the chart and I'm like, the chart is screaming at me that, if this trade works, it's going to be a banger. And if I don't see that, I have kind of slowed down a little bit and just force myself to be patient. When you're close to your entry point, have ES up at the same time, and if ES breaks that level first, enter on NQ because it will probably fall. That's what we talk when Alex is talking about simultaneous breaks. We're typically looking at all of the futures, and if ever, if ES, NQ, YM, and the Dow, YM and RTY are all doing the same thing at the same time, we call it a simultaneous break, and they're just higher probability that you're gonna get follow through when the entire market is moving in the same direction.
Yeah, a little frustrated Wednesday, just because I wasn't at screens to speak about what we know to be true before that news came out. But not only is it when they break, but when they set up. You check those 60s 10 minutes before they close. You're like, okay, they're all setting up. What that tells you is they're all about to try and break. So we can have this foreknowledge of what's the next two. It's like if they're all going to go two in the same direction and they all have inside 60 signals or whatever signal it may be, then you're already there. You're 10 minutes before they close, you already know. When it does break, you already know. You're already there. And it's so important because if you don't think in that in terms of like the setup and then the break and you're just looking for the break, you're gonna miss the break before.
Yeah.
It's you know what the market's open however many hours a day. It's like what 6.5 or what is it?
Yeah. Six. Yeah,
Six.
6.5.
Yeah. So you're looking for 60 simultaneous breaks, which during beginning of the quarter we have a lot of those. The beginning of the week we're gonna have those. Beginning of the day we're gonna have more of those. You only have to check the chart 6 times. Like your whole job is 10 minutes before they close out the 60s. Go and look. And it takes you less than a minute to do the analysis. Like just go and look. Do they have anything? If yes, go and start playing. If they don't, hold off. And like that's the simplest trade plan we can give, especially when the VIX is this high. Because the 60 breaks are like weekly breaks when the VIX is like this.
Yeah.
So
I try and remind myself that like if if I'm sitting here too long, it's like I know that I don't have to, that I just have to check 10 minutes before the flip and see if there's a setup. And I'm trying to get my ex-girlfriend and her son to kind of get into trading a little bit. I was going to show them some stuff, and I said, really, you could just check, like, if you don't have a lot of time to sit here, you could just check each hour right before the new hour, or even on like a 4 hour chart, and I can show you what you might want to be looking for, and you'll know if there's something there. And if not, just go about your life and do whatever you normally do. You know what I mean? If there's an opportunity, take it. You'll be prepared for it. And sometimes I find myself just sitting here, like staring at the chart, which is fine. I don't have like any other responsibilities, but I don't. I have noticed that if I just sit here, the tendency to want to click buttons and make money starts to grow, and the solution to that is just to walk away and come back, set a little reminder, hey, check back in 50 minutes, and then go walk the dog or do whatever, and not just sit here staring at the screens. Because bigger picture, we don't, at least I don't want to be a trader just to be a slave to sitting in a chair and staring at screens all day. Right? I'm looking for
I,
some freedom and some financial freedom, and the ability to kind of live my life the way I want. So the fact that the strat has like the built-in kind of thing where we just check before the flip is super awesome. It's one of my favorite aspects.
yeah, little one, teach people the strategy. Two, get people to follow some type of trade plan because the strat lets you define the trade plan. It isn't the trade plan. We have multiple trade plans with the strat. And then three, we're using, you know, the community and we're using money that we've brought in to try and develop things to make that easier. And our goal with the website has always been like, you know what you're looking for, you create the alert, it tells you when that sets up, and you just the rest of the day you don't have to do anything else. So it's like you just want to trade weekly simultaneous breaks. It'll take you Sunday night when they all set up. It'll be like, hey, this whole sector, these stocks. And then when those break, it'll alert you to what's breaking. And you can just go in there and you can do your thing if you already know how to play the breaks. And like that's the whole goal of stat. And we're gonna be going after the futures markets. Specifically, we're gonna be working with T Trades, which some of you may know, um, implementing a few of his strategies into it. That's probably further down the road. Like I want to say, probably at this rate, like 3 to 5 months or more, maybe six months out. But that's where we're headed towards. Is like you want to just trade the high probability stuff, like we can set the alerts up and you can just do that. And eventually, hopefully some algorithmic trading, which we're aiming for the end of 2025 to get some of the first tests of that going, but promises there.
Yeah, it's a complicated endeavor for sure.
Is we do have some connections now to some people who are, I guess, in the hedge fund world that do the back testing for hedge funds and stuff, and we can directly work with them to like be like, hey, these are all the strategies. Run all the back tests for us, and then we're going to tweak them to what we can.
Yeah, you can actually license it. I wasn't aware of this. There's somebody that I know who has developed some algos that they license to other firms to use for their own kind of trading, and they, I guess, do really well. Pulling in cash, and there's work that's involved in tweaking those and making sure everything's running the way it's supposed to. But yeah, there's a lot of opportunity out there, man. That's why I love trading. It's really, if you can get good at it and you are consistent, there's limitless potential. It's you could, I think, like Ken Griffin, some of these big hedge fund guys started out just as regular traders and now are worth billions of dollars because they were able to kind of shift into like managing larger amounts of money, and had great results over a period of time. So I just love it. I don't have, you don't have anyone to answer to. It's me versus me, and what I put in, I'll get out, hopefully, and just keep grinding. Cheat? What do you mean options? Did I cheat? I'm not a cheater.
Um, so we do limit who can post links just because of scammers and stuff. I'm not sure is the way around that still the strat.
Yeah, this is test this whatever it is, that role. Why? Who
Strat
posted a
test.
who posted a link? Oh, Detour. 1 second. There you go. You should be able to post that link now. Oh, Ken Griffin got rich by. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's. I mean, I watched the thing on YouTube recently about Steve Cohen, who was getting inside information. I mean, look, there's.
There's a lot of ways to skin a cat.
Thank you, Alex. Exactly. Right, listen, man. If if you're able to pull it off and do it in a way that kind of insulates yourself from getting in trouble, I mean, they're that's it's kind of like fair game, I guess. And as long as you stay out of trouble. But my point is, if you're putting in the time and the energy, and you can get really good at this, there are traders out there pulling in millions a year. I mean, I see some prop traders putting up 50, 100, $200,000 months. Jade Cap is crushing it. I think the last 60 days he's up like 200, 100 and some thousand in times 20 prop accounts. He's going to break the record, I think, on Apex for gains. But yeah, I mean, and look, not everybody's going to reach that kind of level, but not everybody's willing to put in, not everybody's going to be, Eddie Van Halen when it comes to playing the guitar. He was just obsessive about it, and that's kind of how I am. I'm obsessed with being like a top tier kind of trader. And that just requires doing a whole lot of work on myself and following rules and being disciplined and learning things about myself that are sometimes difficult to navigate. He's doing 600 to 800K a week. Yeah, that's nuts. I know he's an ICT trader. I don't care. I mean, I don't have look. I've got nothing against ICT traders. Or if you're able to make money in the market, I don't really care how anybody does it. I just don't like Michael him as a person. But that doesn't mean anything. That doesn't mean what he shares isn't valuable or that people can't be successful with it. Like that's fine. I don't have to like everyone. I know a lot of people might not like me. That's fine too. I can be a little you know dickish or whatever you want to call it, angry. Yeah, we got a flip in a minute and a half here on the 60. Take a peek. What's RTY looking like? RTY does look nice.
Scares. Yeah. Even then, Sarah doesn't ever DM turn on.
Newbie, you don't like me? That's fine. I'm banning you instantly. Options DJ, no me. Yeah. Believe it or not, I have my moments. I just try and be a good dude and friendly with as many people as I can. Some people just rub me the wrong way, and that's fine. It's life. I try and control it as much as I can. Sometimes I have little temper tantrums or outbursts, but I'm getting better at dealing with it. It's okay. Alex has yelled at me in the past for, like getting wrapped up, like playing in the pig slop. Sometimes I like to be a piggy. Newbie knows. You guys know what I'm talking about in the Fun to Chat channel. Sometimes I like to roll around and oink out.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of an analogy. Yeah, playing in the dirt with the worms.
Yeah.
Oh, mine the flip. 15 seconds. Got potential gap up sell 60s on pretty much every index. Yes, inside 30, and the rest are two down.
And Q inside 15. We'll keep an eye on what's happening. Here's the flip. God, I kind of want to just short this right now. You know what I didn't do real quick that I gotta mark my I got sidetracked. That's what I like to do. Like 5, 10 minutes before the flip, I mark the 60, the high, the low, sometimes the 30 and the 15, and like then I'm prepared if they trigger on the flip because like you mentioned, if you're kind of like snoozing by the time it triggers, you might miss the best entry. So I like to have my stuff lined up, and I didn't do that this time, but we'll see. We got time here. Inside 60, it's holding up.
From the look of it, I don't see them triangle out. So can't get it back down, but looks like they're going to tick down and go up first on the flip.
Failed two down on the 15 on NQ. Potential outside bar. But inside 30, inside 60. Inside 60 is my definite no trade zone. I try and stay out of the inside 4 hour too. That's usually doesn't serve me well to be trading in that range. French fish earning his salary. That's fun. You guys crack me up. Outside fiver. See if the 15 does it. Flip over to that chart real quick. And Q. Yes, trying to do it too. So the failed twos on the 15, either failed two up or two down, have been really, really great for me lately. I've been focusing on them, like keeping an eye on them for potential reversals. If there's been a nice move up or move down, and you notice a failed two on a 15er, for me that's a little kind of alert goes off in my brain. Time to pay attention and see, look at what's going on the other time frames. Is this a potential short-term top or bottom area? We're going to get a reversal. Once it goes outside, I'm kind of, I don't really know what's going to go on. Sometimes the outside bars can be a little wild. They go from red to green or green to red. So we're at the top or bottom of a smaller time frame broadening formation. So got to be careful. I think this is the longest that I've streamed without taking a trade. I can't remember like going an hour, hour and 15 minutes. Usually I try and get into something, but just gonna take my time. I learned from another much more experienced trader, just let the trades, he would always say, I let the trades come to me. Don't try and force anything. I'm not trying to chase. I'm not trying to, you know, get into a position early. Just wait for the setup that he's looking for. And then that's when you jump in. That feeling of, oh my God, I'm going to miss out is one that I think a lot of people struggle with. There have been many, many, many days during New York Open where I want to jump into a trade right away. I do. I take a loss, and then I walk away for a bit. I come back, check the hourly flip, and I'm like, oh, well, why didn't I just wait for that? I take that trade. It works perfectly. Easy peasy. Move on. No sense having to dig yourself out of a hole unnecessarily, but it does require patience and discipline. What are we wowing options, DJN? Surprised you sat on my hands this long. Yeah, I just I mean, I'm dying to click some buttons for sure. I mean, I want to make some money and go about my day. I'm pretty tired. Ooh, outside 15, so close. But yeah, I'm tired of doing stupid shit and blowing up, accounts with a good chunk of change in them for no reason. If that means I got to be just wait a little, more, then that's what I'm gonna try and focus on. Like whatever I've been doing lately, the last couple weeks has worked well for me, and it's definitely trading less, not sitting here as long, just waiting for like a domino setup where there's a nice setup on a 60 or 4 hour, and then I there's a way in on a 15 into a 30 to trigger the 60 in the 4 hour. Like those are easy trades for me, and I'd rather wait for those setups than kind of take something like a C, B or C level kind of setup. But it is difficult. Like I want to run up this Blue Sky account to this 3 grand as quickly as possible, but I got that eval passed in 4 days, traded it really well. There's the outside 15er, as mentioned, as a possibility. Um, but yeah, just trying to eliminate stupid mistakes. And fish is 7 for 7. Congrats. Minus a blown combine that you were out in 2.5 seconds. 1.029. Trying to go outside 30, it looks like. Do we take the previous low? Or do we just take the high? Let's see, what's the low here? 3150. Just taking the low by a point about, so close to outside 30. But inside 60's got me just chilling here. And the 15-minute outside bar that could do, whatever it wants to. Get a little squirrely. All right, guys, I'm gonna hop off. I'm gonna get something to eat. I'm kind of hungry. I don't see anything that I'm super interested in jumping into. Maybe if the 60 takes the previous 60 low, currently inside bar, but if it goes two down, targeting, somewhere in that gap fill might be worth taking a stab at. So like this, if we break the low here, came very close to it, but they held it. Maybe looking for, how many points is this here? 93 points to the high. So, that might end up being a good trade for 40, 50, 60 points. But we'll see. I'm going to just chill out. No, not in a rush. Market's not going anywhere. Uh, yeah, I think markets are closed on Friday for Good Friday. So shortened week, and I believe I'm going. Uh, my brother has a ridiculously uh, fast side by side. So I think Thursday I'm going out somewhere with him to kind of cruise around in that. So I'm going to take it easy this week. Hopefully request another payout. Waiting on a payout to come through. Hopefully tomorrow. But yeah, manage risk, trade safe, trade smart, and I will see you guys later. Thanks, Alex.